is considered or discussed in the closed session.
I so move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jesse, second by Mr. Harris. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams. I think he said he would.
Reggie, you're muted.
Aye.
Mr. Kimber.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We are now at our public hearing. Sorry for the delay. I'm changing horses here. My mic is on. Can you hear me okay? Entering public hearing, we've got a number of items to cover tonight. The first is a resolution to abandon a segment of State Route 629. It's Dave.
It's going to be Mr. Chairman, that's something I'm going to start, and then I have
Okay.
tag team with county staff and VDOT, if I may.
Okay.
So in your board packet on page 113, we have the resolution. Matt, could you bring that up for us, please?
Yep.
Sorry, I flipped to it myself. So as the board will recall at your previous meeting, you directed staff to begin the legal process and the notifications required for consideration of abandoning a particular section of the Healy's Mill Road that the HOA had come before the board and requested that you abandon. We've complied with those notices. As you can see in the resolution, staff posted signs along the road. We ran it in the paper. You even had a public hearing on the matter. And so town hall on it. So what's now before you is the public hearing on this resolution. And with that, I'd like to invite VDOT, Lee McKnight, to come up, please, and to kind of give a brief overview of where we are in this process and to answer any questions the board may have before we open it to the public for public hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening once again, members of the board. I just wanted to kind of recap where we are with Route 629 Stormont Road and the abandonment of that portion of the road over Healy's Mill Pond. Just a quick history. The current spillway box culvert most likely was constructed prior to 1850, possibly earlier. Route 629 came into the system under the Byrd Act with a 30-foot prescriptive easement in 1933. The road was closed to through traffic on February 23rd, 2006, due to cracks in both of the walls of the box culvert, undermining of the spillway floor, water flowing under the wing walls, and some other items. March 2008, a consultant completed a report on the dam and spillway remediation efforts. Since that report and continued deterioration, repairing of the existing box culvert is no longer an option. It will require a full replacement of some sort at that location. DCR conducted a review of the dam on August 15th, 2023. In order to categorize the dam as either a low or high hazard dam, the road over the dam would first need to be determined to be open or closed to traffic. So that's an important distinction. Middlesex County held the town hall meeting on October 2nd, 2023. And at the request of the county administrator, we did make some inquiries as to whether there was any funding available to replace the crossing. At this time, to my knowledge, there's no funding available to replace the crossing structure at this location. I'd be happy to take any questions that the board may have.
So if I understand you correctly, you did push this above you.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. And that was the response that you got from the transportation department, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Any future glimmer of anything with that?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr. Harris.
Just to refresh my memory and clarity, VDOT, if there were a restoration of the road that VDOT would lead, it would be a box culvert and a road, essentially a bridge, but not, would it or would it not include a dam replacement or repair?
With the VDOT portion, it'd be some sort of crossing over that location. The dam, obviously VDOT's perspective is to get vehicles from one side of the road to the other. So it's not to impound water on private property. So it would be for the structure, the crossing structure itself.
Any other questions?
Just one quick thing, Mr. Chairman, for clarity and for purpose of discussion, I've taken the liberty of placing a picture of the section of road in question. It's the 0.38 mile section that is being proposed for abandonment. That's on your screen. And I'm also sharing that for the people joining us at home.
Thanks
All
very
right.
much. We have any other, I just checking the process here because I'm accustomed to having Dave with the
Yes, sir.
public hearings.
Mr. Kretz, did you have anything to add to that in addition to what Mr. McKnight at this time? I didn't. Think so. So with that,
You can open the floor for
public comment.
public comment.
Yes, sir.
All right, I will open the floor for public comment. Do we have?
Would you like to go over the rules, please, for that?
Yes, glad to. The comments, each speaker must provide their name and residence location. They have up to 3 minutes to address the board unless they're representing a group of 4 or more individuals who must be present, in which case they're allowed 12 minutes. And we'll have a little timer going up on the screen. All right. And a question for clarification. About that. Go ahead.
How about if there's may I propose the gentleman come forward and he could speak
As
during
part
that
of the
time?
public speaking,
And then at the direction of the
Yeah.
chairman or the board, we can answer questions.
All right.
I think I know what the question is going to be, and I will just add this real quickly before the public hearing gets started in earnest. This section of road is pretty much between the concrete barricades. So you've got the concrete barricades on the east, just to the west of Point Ann Drive, and you've got the concrete barricades to the east of the last driveway on 629 on the west. And that's depicted in red on the screen.
Okay. Start off, my name is Tim Earnhardt. I'm the president of the HOA, Healy's Mill HOA. What I was looking at on this, when you're talking about, and I was looking for clarification, when you're talking about where it is, where they have put the barriers. On Stormont Road, the barriers are right at the dam. On the other side, the barriers are up right at Millstone Road, which then leaves the remaining of the road from there to the dam. So are you abandoning, is the request to abandon even that section? Or are we just abandoning, because I think our request was to abandon just the roadway, just the roadway across the dam, which would actually put the barrier not right at Millstone, but would put it right at the bridge. You understand? So that's the clarification on what, I mean, what,
Please, yeah.
What has been advertised and proposed is abandon this section of road, and that's after consultation with VDOT,
okay. So
which
then-
includes the portion of the dam that you mentioned.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That helps clarify where I'm, for my purposes at this moment. Again, I've been up here a few times, so I guess I got to start it off. Wasn't my intention to start off, but will. As president of HOA and all, we have definitely been looking into this for quite a long time and discussions, as well as a group of individuals that live in the HOA, but the HOA is not really as a whole taking the lead in this as it is members of the community around there that are taking the lead of this. It's been, of course, closed for 16 years plus. Nobody up till now has come up and wanted to reopen it or anything or whatever. And now that the DCR has come down, we don't want to lose the dam. And of course, the owner of the dam has stated he wasn't going to repair the dam per se. So the group of owners have come together to work and to offer, if we can get it abandoned. If we can get it abandoned, it gives us it will hopefully give us the DCR rating of a low risk dam. Based on getting a low risk dam, lowers the cost for the repair of the dam. If we can get it repaired, if we can get it at the low risk point, then there are a group of citizens who are coming together willing to work towards fundraising and to have this and pay for this without the city having to put any money towards the repair of the dam. We don't want to lose our pond. If we lose the pond, of course, home values go down. It really will be nothing but people looking out their backyard at a mess, really. Is the best way I can say it without any other colorful ways. And we really want to do this. So you've got a group of homeowners now who are willing to step forward and want to move forward with this. And that is why we are proposing and adamantly looking at and wishing and hoping that this part of the roadway will be abandoned so we can get it certified at low risk and we can go ahead and start the procedure to have the remaining engineering studies done and have the architect telling us how we have to fix it and then get the amount and then begin to move forward to repair the dam so that we don't lose the ponds. Thank you.
Thank you. Shanae, we'll work on it. Do you have some submissions of people who turned in slips they would like to speak? Okay, we'll begin calling those people in whatever order you've got them.
Okay, first I have Mr. Gordon White from Pond Top.
Makes the idea of closing a road that's been open for 90 years is absurd. VDOT should have repaired this. Initially, it's a state road. They, I believe, had the responsibility to do that. Leave it this long is force residents, mail carriers, school buses, emergency responders to make long detours, which in some cases could possibly have fatal results. This should simply be unacceptable. VDOT has its excuses, none of which should be acceptable in the 21st century. However, there is a solution to the pond problem. In 1972, the Hurricane Agnes washed out the dam to Lake Barcroft in Falls Church. Surrounding residents created a watershed improvement district that restored and maintains today Lake Barcroft. They receive state, federal grants and loans, and the district taxes them a modest amount to maintain the dam. Lake Barcroft was built as a reservoir for the city of Alexandria in 1915. Had a 400-foot wide dam, obviously much larger than Heaton's Mill Pond. The reservoir originally held 520 million gallons and covered 115 acres. In the 1950s, the lake ceased being used as a reservoir, and it had 680 acres surrounding it, bought by a developer and homes built around it. As I said, 1972, Hurricane Agnes destroyed the dam, leaving the homeowners facing a mudflood. As I said, they formed a watershed improvement district, a Commonwealth Agency and the Soil and Water Conservation District. And I think that residents and Middlesex County should have the imagination to create a similar entity to restore Healy's Pond as well as reopen 629. Now I have a description of.
You did.
Budget, which I was given the chairman for his application. I hope you can find this as a solution.
Thank you, Mr. White. And I just remind everyone, please identify yourself and your where you're from.
Next, we have Lewis Briggs from 1034 Haley Road.
Good evening to the Board of Supervisors. My name is Lewis Briggs. I'm from 1034 Hillis Road. I think y'all making a big mistake. The supervisor, I see where in the paper you voted 5-0 to have the road abandoned. Y'all not looking at the whole picture. If 33 gets shut off because of some kind of natural disaster, that's the only way to get into them homes down there. I don't know if y'all went down and checked them homes out that didn't put in them woods down there. If all you need is one fire down there, you're gonna have a problem. But you can't get from Grafton Church down to where I'm a safety freak, and I look out for people. Those people are not gonna be able to get out of there. But if you had the road open, they could go in that direction back toward Locust Hill and come out of there. But in other words, what y'all doing, y'all closing the back door up. My daddy told me years ago, son, never close your back door up. Keep it open. See, if you have a fire in the front, you ain't gonna be able to get out the back because it closed up. Come on, guys, think. All y'all need to, how many of y'all been down past the golf course lately? Can't get no answer, but I'm gonna tell you something. I went down there the other day. I did some research. I went down there. That place is set up for a wildfire disaster. You can sit here and play with it, but it need to be open. Middlesex County don't have the equipment or the firepower to go down and put out a fire. They'll have to get people from all counties, and all these fire wagons will come in at one time. And like I say, 33 might be blocked off. And they don't have a one-way in. But with the back door open, they could come from Starmont on around. So y'all need to go down there and check them homes out. When that fire, if you have a fire across there in Big Neck and they rush this way, those people are gonna be in trouble. They ain't gonna be able to get out. In other words, y'all putting the citizen in harm's way. Come on, people, think. Look at the whole picture. Because number one, when I went down there, I didn't even see a fire hydrant. All them homes that been built down there since this dam been out, I don't see the first fire hydrant. So when the fire wagon go down there, they're not gonna have water to put out a fire. Come on, think. Go down, y'all go down and do some research. I done did some research for you, but you need to go down and do it for yourself. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs.
Jim Burnett from Haley Mills Pond.
I wasn't gonna say anything unless I disagreed with somebody. I've already said everything I needed to about let's close this road and get it over with. This has been going on for years and years and years. Now, as far as I live down there, and I guess I'd be cut off in a fire, but I'm not too worried about it.
We got two lakes down there. I'd like to keep the water in. I know for certain one of them has a standpipe for fire trucks. So I just want it closed. It doesn't make any sense for me for this to continue. I think 17 years or ever how long it is, it's long enough to be messing with people. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett.
Audria. Did I pronounce that correctly? Audra. Sorry.
Hi, my name's Audra Aristivo, and my property is 4775 Stormont Road. We just purchased it in June. We're from New York. We're currently using the property as an Airbnb, and we bought it with the intent of it being a waterfront property on a pond. We had no idea there was any problem with the pond. With the dam, my understanding was the road was closed because of prior damage from trucks and vehicles that went over it, that the dam wasn't rated for, and therefore it was damaged. The information I was given was that the road was closed, and I thought that was the fix. I didn't know the dam had to be repaired and replaced or whatever. I was told that we'd be getting a decorative gate instead of cement blocks and reflector signs. Since I've been there, for the 4 months that I've been there, I've gotten to know several of the people in the community and on the pond. We all love the pond. We love the fact that we have a beautiful pond, which has plenty of water in it. I would imagine if there was ever a fire that they could tap into. I am in full support of the road being closed. I am in full support of keeping the dam, and I have given my full support to helping finance the repair of the dam, and to get involved with any kind of fundraising or whatever, in addition to what I could put in personally. So I just wanted to give that statement, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Aristivo.
Sandy Murphy.
My name is Sandy Murphy, and our address is 237 Mill Ridge Road. I don't really have too much to add to what's already been said. I think that you are all aware of how strongly we feel about the pond. But I'll just add, since this hasn't been discussed tonight, how well that pond is used. So we have lots of fishermen in the pond. We have kayakers. We have anglers of all kind. We have I can't remember the name of the balance board. Yes, we have paddle boards. We have races on the pond. Sometimes it's who can find the turtles first. We've celebrated birthdays on the pond. We have parties on the pond. We've had scavenger hunts on the pond. And it's I think it's the favorite place for probably everybody around to meet. And when there aren't a lot of recreational facilities here in the county, but that is always there. So, Frank, would you add anything? Okay.
We got to.
Oh, you can.
Sorry, we got to.
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, you
You'll
can
have
come
a
up after
chance.
her,
You'll have a
yeah.
chance, Frank.
Public hearings are a little bit more formal than the town hall meeting.
Thank you.
Sinead, we have one more.
Vivian Dryer. Harmony Grove, Hartfield.
Hi. Yeah, I think a lot has been said. So I'm going to make this really personal this time, because I think we've gone over a lot of the facts. And I will tell you, about 12 years ago, I moved to the Upper Pond. I survived cancer. They didn't give me great odds, but there's been more peace and tranquility I've had on that pond and the lower pond. I'm vice president of the HOA, and I love my neighbors, and we all love that pond. One of the things you don't realize is that there are actually two dams. I don't know, I think we've discussed this. There are two dams. There's a lower dam and the upper dam. The upper dam has also been issued a citation, or we have to fix it according to DCR as well, because they're both joined. The upper dam category, low hazard category, is dependent on the lower dam's low hazard category. If the lower dam doesn't get one, the upper dam very well could be high category, high category too. And then we'd be in double trouble. We've been at this for a very long time. The bridge was what, Lee? 5 million? Okay. There have been lawsuits involved, and that's the reason it has sat all of this time. But please just let us fix it so that we can enjoy it and continue all of our peace and tranquility. The county needs more places like this, and this is in our own backyard. So please help us save it. Thank you.
Thank you. If you have no other pre-slips, then who else would like to address the board? You come on. Will everybody get a chance?
Hi, my name is Sean Sandlin. I live in Piankatank Shores. So we didn't buy our property till 2011. And so we're well after. I have no remembrance of going over this bridge as using it. But I can say that, having learned tonight that it's been there since 1933 officially on the books, and obviously well before that, it's part of the county. It's how people got around. And I agree that if 33 were to have a disaster, we have no way to get to the other side of the county. So, you know, it seems odd that we would cut out one path that we can go through. You know, I'm also learning about this fairly recently. That's my own fault. You know, I can't even really figure out what abandoning it means. Where does that property go? Does it get transferred to someone? You know, does it cut out from anywhere down the road? We decide that, hey, that's a really nice lightly used section of road. Maybe a bike trail gets put there or something like that. Does abandon it mean the county can't do anything with that anymore? I don't know if that can be answered right now, but I mean, does it basically say, as far as I can tell, abandoning it means we're done with it, you do what you will, but who's the you? Who does it go to? So that's basically given away that people who've lived here, you know, since when it was in use, that's giving away their, you know, a road that at one point they were used to being able to use. And I love peace and tranquility. I love all these stories of people enjoying the pond. That's I'm certainly not going to deny that. That's why I bought down here. You know, but putting the road back maintains that. Do we have anything forcing us to get rid of it now? I don't know. Like, why all of a sudden the pressure for it after it's been sitting there for 12 years? It just seems like you're adding a finality to it, forced. And I think it has room to be used again. You know, when funds become available. It was my understanding that maybe the property owner, the existing property owner, was a hindrance to that up till recently. And they've said, and I could have this all wrong, but it's my understanding that that one wall has been removed. And so I'm just curious what the urge all of a sudden to be rid of this thing that's been part of the county and I think would benefit the county by having this thoroughfare around. I mean, for simple purposes, I'm probably going to use 33 for most of the time. But I can say that, you know, if I take a load of stuff in the brush in the truck, you know, it's kind of hazard sometimes. Stuff blows out. Be nice to be able to take a slower ride and not be on the highway to take stuff over to the Stormont transfer station. Anyway, I think it's still useful and it would be a shame to lose it.
Thank you, Mr. Pan. Would someone else like? Yeah. Please.
My name's Frank Murphy. I live at 237 Mill Ridge Road. And thanks for your comments. One of the comments that I have to make to help answer your question, I hope, is that's a private owned dam. It doesn't belong to the county. It doesn't belong to the state.
Right, sorry, you need to address.
Oh, I'm sorry. It belongs to the county, or it's a private owned dam. It doesn't belong to the county or the state or anyone. The county at this point and the state has a right of way over it. So with that being said, with the county and the state being involved with that right of way, it would be classified as a class 3 dam. Okay, if it's classified as a class 3 dam, you're talking about way up into the millions to repair.
Right.
If it's opened back up as a road.
Right, please.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Talk to me. Talk to me, Frank.
All right. But if it's classified as class 1, then it's affordable for the homeowners, the people that live on the pond. We can, for way less than in the millions, the homeowners want to get together and repair it and keep it closed. If the state, county gets involved, it's going to be state and money that's going to maintain it. As a private dam, we want to maintain it, and we will take care of it as a community. And this has come about now because DCR has got involved. DCR involved. They're telling us we have got to fix it and we got to fix it now. I'm the one that kind of opens and closes the gates at this point whenever storms come or whatever. And I agree with DCR state. It is in desperate repair, but and it needs to be done now. The next storm is most likely going to take it out, and we need immediate action. And we knew that even before DCR got involved, but we've been working with it as best we could. It was done in 1850 or so. And with that being said, we just need to get the ball rolling and go ahead and get things done. County and state, we can't wait for politics or for other people to make decisions for us that ought to be our decision, because it is a problem down. My time just ran out. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it's one, I think each person can only address the board one time. Mr. Please.
Mr. Chairman, board, administration. My question, my time up here is for questions, maybe more than comments. What is the alternative for the homeowners association to have what they need fixed to save that wonderful pond as opposed to abandonment? Is there another choice? Total abandonment is, it sounds like it's in perpetuity. So is it in perpetuity? I would have to ask a guest, the VDOT folks, to see. So why is this no other, is it necessary to abandon in order for the HOA to do what they propose? I'd like to answer that question. Nobody wants to see that pond drained. I've been living there nearby it for all my life. Fished in it, rode on it, skated on it. I actually picked up the lady that I'm married to for 55 years and went down there spooning. It's beautiful.
The denial in 2008 was not based on what we're talking about today. The denial in 2008 by VDOT and the present Board of Supervisors at that time was based on the fact that they said the denial was based that they didn't own the land under the road. Well, somebody's moved. The present owner says you can have it. So how can VDOT say that now? Does anybody have an answer to that question? Think about that. That was their only reason, said they couldn't fix it. Couldn't get together. I came before this, well, it wasn't this board, maybe Wayne was the only one. Mr. Jess was the only one on it at the time. And I suggested it was our county's road, not the pond, but that road. It was the third or fourth most used secondary road in the county at that time. The points being made about the safety hazard, it's no question. Ask the fire department, ask the rescue squads. They'll tell you full well. So is there an alternative to an abandonment to allow that to be repaired, whether it be temporary or longer term? And if the denial was based on who owned the property under the dam, then why not get an answer from VDOT? Because that's certainly what was told in this courthouse back then. Just upstream, my latest swamp was repaired at probably a higher cost at that time than this would have been, certainly at that time. I got a quote of just over $1 million at that time from legitimate contractors, 2 of them. I think my time is about up, but think about what I've just brought to light. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fleet. Someone else like to address the board?
My name is Catherine Curtis. I'm a resident of 11603 General Puller Highway, but I'm here with Sandy and Frank Murphy, my aunt and uncle, who are residents of 237 Mill Ridge Road. I wanted to address respectfully some of the concerns that were brought up about the closure of this road, because it's kind of been framed as if this abandonment, sorry, not the closure, but the abandonment of the property. It's been kind of framed as if it would be something taken away from the county as it is at the moment. And I do think that's an error. The road has been closed for years and years. This has not been something that is safe for traffic to cross over for a long time. And as far as I know, there was not any plan in place for that to be made the case. The only thing that we're hoping to do by pursuing this abandonment is to prevent the dam from collapsing entirely, which I think we can all agree would be a very bad situation. Not only do we lose the pond, but I think it could be potentially a dangerous circumstance for the people living downstream. So yeah, this is an act of pursuing saving something that's there. We're not trying to take away anything from the county as it is. And so that's all I would like to clarify there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Someone else like to address the board?
Good evening. My name is Alina Ward. I used to live on Mill Ridge Road for 11 years, and I currently own property on Pipe and Tree Road, which is downstream from the pond. However, I live in Topping. So there is an urgency to this matter, and I really think that the board really needs to take action right away because DCR has gotten involved, and they're going to push the matter to force the drainage of the pond. And this is going to make a dramatic decrease in property values all along those properties. And that is going to affect their assessment value, of course, and their property taxes. But more than that, beyond the recreational value and how much everyone really loves the pond, and it is a safety hazard, but the road has been closed for 17 years. It's never going to, it's never going to be reopened. I think we need to face that fact. We keep kicking this can down the road, and prolonging this process is not going to help. At one point, there was a plan, I believe, for VDOT to create cul-de-sacs at the end of, on each end of Stormont Road, but even that has not happened. So if we can't even take action to appropriate funds to create cul-de-sacs, then why, we just need to abandon it. It just doesn't make any sense to me why we would keep prolonging this process. As everyone has mentioned, the next storm, the next hurricane season could take out the pond entirely. And also, of course, puts the upper pond at risk. So, I mean, the reality is 33 ever really going to get shut down on both sides of the, I mean, it's a 4-lane highway. So realistically, I think we would find ways to get around that if that were to happen. And you still have access from both sides. It's only that one section that's cut off. We do maybe need to somehow redistrict it and make the other side of Stormont part of Locust Hill. That would make more sense maybe from a fire department and ambulance perspective. Because yeah, I guess it causes problems with the mail routes, ambulance, fire departments, that sort of thing. But again, prolonging this process isn't going to do any good because the county's not going to ever appropriate enough funds to fix the road. And VDOT is never going to appropriate $7 million or more to build a bridge over it. So, and once again, there's an urgency here to fix this problem. So I appreciate your consideration and time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. What else?
Good afternoon, Kevin McNamee. I'm the fire chief in Hartfield. I live in Hartfield, and I'm not gonna go either way on this. I just want to throw some facts out there. I've heard a lot of talk about emergency, heard a lot of talk about the pond. It's all good. I will tell you that from my fire station to this side of the dam, which is on the Healy side, it's 3.6 miles. You talk about the redistricting, all of that is still Hartfield's district on the other side. That, with the response to that for cutting through St. Clair Walker, you're looking at 6.9 miles. So we're almost doubling our mileage. And I mean, I know everybody talks about emergencies and things never happen, but that's why they call them emergencies. So just wanted to put those facts out there that, you know, that's the time frame you're looking at. If you do look at a structure fire, National Fire Protection Association says a fire grows, doubles in size every minute. So, you know, that just puts us behind the 8 ball. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McNamee. Would anybody else like to address the board? Lee, if you wouldn't mind coming back, there are a couple of questions I'd like to clarify because I'm not sure.
Are you closing the public comment period?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. If nobody else would like to address the board, I'll close the public comment period. Thank you. My colleagues may have some additional questions, but I do, just because there's so much gray area or misunderstanding, at least compared to my understanding. So I want to make sure I understand things correctly. The dam itself, which is in peril of being closed, essentially. Oh, sorry. The dam itself, privately owned. DCR has notified them that unless the dam is brought up to a certain standard, they will have to drain some or all of the ponds, right? So that's the obligation, liability of the private landowner of the dam.
Correct. Yeah, the
Okay.
landowner.
The VDOT has an easement over which it has a roadway across the property. And the county has nothing. The county doesn't own an easement. The county doesn't own land. The county doesn't own the road. However, for the dam owner, the dam residents or the dam owner to have their dam assessed as low risk, the county must make a formal action to make it so that the road is not going to be used. And am I correct in that?
Yes, sir. It's a really complicated situation. So this easement is what's known as a prescriptive easement. And before 1933 in the Byrd Act, the counties actually did own the easements over which this road traveled on. As part of the Byrd Act, that easement was given to VDOT to take for maintenance purposes of the actual road surface. The land underneath the road is still owned by whomever owned it previously. So in this case, the private citizen still owns the actual dirt, but the road, there's an easement that is owned by the state, by VDOT. With an abandonment, that prescriptive easement is vanquished and the ownership of the road remains with the private citizen or that land underneath the road. With a discontinuance, the easement is, from VDOT's perspective, is terminated for maintenance purposes, but the county resumes maintenance responsibilities of that portion of road in this particular example. So that's kind of the difference between the discontinuance and the abandonment. And that's why the county has to initiate that process for the abandonment of the actual road.
I see. That helps clarify for me. Other questions? Reggie?
Well, I don't really have no question to ask VDOT. I mean, they'd have made their stand on what they're gonna do and what they're gonna say. And to me, the residents have spoken of how they felt about it, and they want to do something about it. And in a way, it's a shame. To me, it's a shame. I stayed in this area I've been in this area all my life. I know the ponds. I know what fed the ponds, the water that fed the ponds. Just to give them a little history on it. That was up there by, what fed the ponds right there by the middle school, the elementary school. If you go down the hill, that's what fed that pond. Now, if you're riding down, I think 629 Philpott, if you go down the bottom of that hill, that used to be a pond right there. That particular pond was just as big as the one that we're talking about today. In fact, but it was fed by a stream of water. And when we buy something, and I said this before, and when people prepare something to sell, sometimes people get caught with the sale and they look, make a pond bigger. Nobody says anything. You get a storm, get a lot of water. You wash things out. I say that to say this. The homeowners want to do something about a mistake that was made, and they're trying to fix it. VDOT is not going to do something. It's not the county responsibility. And we got to do something. And we talk about safety and all these things. We could talk about safety all day, just like a gentleman came up about emergency service and fire stations. I mean, you know, he's right. You know, if you got to go to a hospital or something like that, you know, you got to go a ways. But if you play with the numbers too much, you'll find out that once you get on one side of the pond, you might be quicker to get somewhere than you're on the other side of the pond. So I'm gonna go, you know, I'm gonna go along with the landowners. Just make a long story short. This what they want to do. And the gentleman that was from New York, I'll get a chance to meet him because I like to talk to him. Simply about life and things like this happening and willing to step in to do something. And it's help to the county, and it's going to be misunderstanding. I remember on the other side, the pond before the pond, was happening. People was running up in the woods. They was driving so fast on the back road, going out 619, going to back to 33. So you had to answer something because this will happen. Then you get ones that on the west side of the pond, they will come up and say, man, they don't want the pond open back up because traffic is better. You don't want to make it a freeway. You don't want to make 619 33. You know, so once again, you know, I'm gonna have to go along with the landowners. Just what they want to do. And I think it's a good thing that they're doing it. And DCR, they done forced their hands. And I think most of them are willing to accept the fact that we didn't research the land that we bought before we bought it, but we was looking at a pond that was in the backyard and we bought it. So, Lord, that's just about it. I mean, just the landowners came up and spoke, and that's why I look at it. You know, and most of them that spoke against it don't stay on 619. I mean, 629.
Thank you, Reggie.
Lee, quick question. In looking at the red area, is there any impacted road? It looks like there's no roads that come into 629 that would be affected by non-maintenance from VDOT standpoint. Am I correct on that?
Correct. Yes, those limits were chosen so we didn't landlock any citizens. Yeah, we met out there and looked at that.
So no parts of the red VDOT would do any maintenance on, even though it's not directly over the dam.
That red portion would be completely abandoned. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Other questions? All right. We've got a resolution in the packet. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution? And I'll summarize the, just with the now therefore be it resolved that the Middlesex County Board of Supervisors abandons the above described segment of road for the reasons stated herein and removes it from the secondary system of state highways pursuant to section 33.2-909 Code of Virginia 1950 as amended.
Yeah, but before I make a motion on this, like I say, I was the only one on the board at the time. It was 17 years ago. And I'm just doing a little history, I won't be too long. The general attorney, because we was battling back and forth, you know, who owns it. General attorney told us, hey, county don't own it. VDOT don't own it. We owns the road, but the land don't own it. And at that time, that was Gene Rourke. Gene Rourke on that. And then Gene had it, and then after that, Oscar Barber bought it. And that's where you're at today with Oscar Barber. But you know, and you actually you gonna know that since we don't own and can't just, you know, can't do what we can't help you out, in other words. And VDOT told us at that time, oh, a bridge couldn't be put over it 100 years from now. And that's basically what they said, you know, and millions of dollars. So we have the homeowners that's around there that, you know, say they're gonna get together and you know, they're gonna make it low risk. So, you know, and at the town hall meeting, this room was full of people. And it's been 17 years, so think about it, you know, by the grace of God, we hadn't had any natural disasters that stopped us from doing anything. You know, I'm with the Urbana Fire Department, and you know, it's gonna take us a little bit longer on that side versus if they went on the Hartfield side. But you gotta realize, you know, this day and time now, the newer homes are more safe. They're not burning wood. I can just tell you that. I'm just doing a bit. They're not burning wood. I used to go to, when I first got on the fire department, we were going to chimney fires just about every day. But I'm just saying, this day and time, you got smoke detectors, you got alarm. So, you know, there will be things that will happen, but you know, in the last 17 years, there was nothing major. And I hope that nothing else be major. But it is, if it is, we're gonna know how we will know how to survive, put it that way. If you're a country boy, you know how to survive. There's something on one side, you're gonna run across the other side and gonna walk across that dam. I mean, ride a bike or something, you know, you're gonna be able to survive. But at the end of the day, I just want to say citizens spoke. They spoke at the town hall meeting and they say, hey, we're gonna pay for it, we're gonna take care of this because DCR, you know, pulled my hand, you know, we gotta do something. Or this is gonna wash away and a lot of property values gonna go down. And I don't know what's gonna happen on the other side when all that stuff washed away. And now you got an opportunity to do something before something happened really bad. And just think about that, because nothing been done in 17 years. Now you got a group of people gonna come here and say, hey, we're gonna fix it. And we're gonna say, no, we're not gonna fix it. We're gonna find out if you can do this and you can do that. And then if dam break, then how are we gonna look? And how the whole community gonna look when we got a group that's saying, hey, this is what we want to do. I just had to say my piece. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I make a motion for the resolution the resolution to abandon a segment of State Route 629 at Starmont Road. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jesse, second by Mr. Williams. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Harris,
No.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Kimbrough,
Yes. Motion carries.
And just for clarification, Mr. Chairman, that was a motion. Mr. Jesse was referring to the resolution in the packet, but
Yes.
yeah, yes, thank you. Yes, sir. I thought that's what you were referring to. Just wanted to clarify for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item is Dave, are you gonna, do you have the others? Who's?
It's Mr. Longus and I.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, so we can.
Yeah, we can take a 5-minute recess. We'll be back at 8:10.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, we've got two more public hearing items.
3 more.
And Mark, assuming you're ready to go with the, budget zoning ordinance amendment. The meeting's called back to order, and Mark Longest is presenting, 2 items for public hearing.
Yes, sir. Good evening. The first item I have is some changes to the wetlands ordinance. We had to make some changes to our current ordinance to be reflective of what was changed from the legislature. The first one was the name change of the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries is now the Department of Wildlife Resources. Yes, I got it on. Look. That's too tall.
Too tall.
So, yeah, the first one was Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. It was changed to Department of Wildlife Resources. The 2 change was the publishing of the public notices. We originally are notifying the paper a certain time ahead for these notices. And if you look on section 6, the changes were that we have to give a hearing instead of the once a week for 2 weeks. I have to notify the newspaper 7 days prior to such hearings and also post a notice on our website and also send a copy of that notice to the Virginia Regulatory Town Hall, which I send that actually to VMRC and they'll post it for us. But it's 14 days prior. And there was one change in that section 6 at the end is just basically the language is that if I properly notify the newspaper, but the newspaper fails to publish the notice correctly, I have officially notified them properly on my terms and still meet the ordinance or the code of advertisement. And then the last part, again, just spoke about with the Virginia Regulatory Town Hall. Again, that's their town hall notification. We haven't been doing that. But that law had changed, so typically we have to notify the property owners adjoining on these sides of the wetlands projects that the wetlands board reviews it. So for a time frame, I actually notify the property owners and the town hall at the same time, so we can all keep together. If you notice any of the red changes, that's where I was able to have Heather and Susan help me change some of the language, so our ordinance is reflective of the complete changes that the legislature made. So if there's any questions, I'll answer those. But that's all I have. And
I think some of those other changes, just to clarify with Mr. Longest, were some grammar. We clarified a few of those things. Our changes are underlined if you're not able to see in color. The things that are underlined were added, things that are strike through were removed.
Very good. I'll open the meeting for public comment on this zoning ordinance amendment. Would anybody like to address the board? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing on this. Discussion among board members. Mr. Williams, any discussion about this item?
No.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the zoning ordinance amendment.
A clarification, it's a motion to adopt the ordinance amending the Middlesex County wetlands zoning ordinance. Sorry, just for clarification, it's the wetlands ordinance.
I'll make a motion to adopt the changes in the wetland board.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jesse, second by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll be taking over for Sinead. Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Kimbrough.
Aye. Motion carries. And the next item on the agenda, item C.
good evening. Again, this is item C is similar to your item B is the coastal primary sand dune zoning ordinance. Again, the changes were the Department of Game and Fisheries going to the Department of Wildlife Resources. And the advertisement That is also section 6. It's the same language where we have to advertise in a time frame, 14 days prior notice. And again, if we notify the paper, we're okay with it. There were more grammatical changes in this one that we had to do. Some of the words were just struck through and changed to, instead of which, they wanted to say that. That was the big portion. There was also an addition of a living shoreline project, which we are trying to push those more, and more of the agencies want to see a living shoreline versus hardscapes. Again, the Virginia Regulatory Town Hall notifications, again, we send that again to VMRC when we're publishing our notices. So again, if any questions, I can answer those for you.
Any questions for Mark? Right. I'll entertain a motion. Well, would you please phrase it so that I get it correctly?
Well, first you got to open the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, I'll open public hearing for comment on this ordinance. This is an
Ordinance amendment.
ordinance amendment. Would anybody like to address the board? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing.
And then, Mr. Chairman, we're seeking a motion to adopt the proposed amendments as presented in the packet to the coastal primary sand dune zoning ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Williams. Any further discussion? Have a roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Kimber.
Aye. Motion carries. And are you presenting?
I am. I
Item
have the
D.
last. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the last item we have for public hearing, and we do have our constitutional's present if we have any questions for the treasurer or the commissioner of revenue. Gentlemen, the last thing before you, as required by Virginia code, before you can sell county-owned property, you have to have a public hearing. It has come to our attention that the county owns 2 parcels of land in the Jamaica Magisterial District, identified as 1-14A and 1-14B. And there is a buyer, Mr. Charlie Carter Jr. We have a resolution in your packet that, if the board votes to approve, would authorize the sale of these 2 lots to Mr. Carter for a price of $17,000 with the following conditions: that the lot line will be vacated and it will return to 1 parcel, and that it be conveyed via quitclaim deed. There are this is a complicated chain of title on this, and so that's why it's a quitclaim deed. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, he's the only one that they can buy this, right? I'm just having a question.
I don't know that I would phrase it, he's the only one that can buy it, but I think based on the title and some of the property history, I think it makes sense that he would be the purchaser of this property. He did own it at one time previously.
So my question is, again, then we have a public hearing,
Mhm.
and then someone else come up there and saying, well, why can't I buy this? It's county property and was up for sheet sale. What do we do?
Well, it's the board determines who they wish to sell their property to and at what price. So it's the board's discretion.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yes, sir. No, I understand,
You
but it's
cleared that-
absolutely the board's
cleared that.
discretion. It's just this property has some uniqueness in its history, especially with the chain of title.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to open the floor for public comment on this resolution. Would anybody like to address the board? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. And open the floor for our discussion.
Are we all in the same step sequence between you two and the county attorney?
Yes, sir. Let the record reflect that the treasurer and the commissioner of revenue are nodding their heads. Yes, sir. We're in agreement. We think this is a good resolution to a complicated land matter.
And that'll solve y'all's problem. Wonderful. Thank
Any comments, Mr. Williams?
No.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution R 2023-012.
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jesse, second by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? A roll call, please.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Kimbrough.
Aye.
Thank you,
Motion
gentlemen.
carries. Thank you, everyone. We are now going to return to a closed session. We're going to do so here, and so we'll excuse everyone.
And with that, I'll read the language. Mr. Chairman, we need a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. This is for the discussion of matters involving personnel, specifically the appointment of an interim board member, and pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8 for consultation with legal counsel regarding a special election and an interim appointee.
Thank you. I hear a motion to go to closed session.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jesse, second by Mr. Harris. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Kimbrough.
Aye.